What's up and welcome back to another video, guys. Today I'm going to be building a few mocks, but there are a few rules that I have to follow for these mocks. The two main ones being that first, it has to fit in this small area, a bit of a diorama kind of base plate type thing, except I didn't have black pieces, so it's going to be gray. This is so I can focus more on details and less on size, because it's something that I want to improve on, and I thought this would be a good way to do it. And the second rule that I have to follow is that it needs to feature primarily one clone legion. So I'm going to be traveling around to different worlds in the Star Wars universe and experimenting with different clone legions and building some cool mocks. So without further ado, let's get right on into this video. The first legion that I want to feature is the 41st Elite Corps, or the Kashyyyk Troopers. Now, I'm not going to be building Kashyyyk here. I want to build something a little different because I have done Kashyyyk before and I want to try out some different techniques. Now, my plan is to build some sort of river coming down and then some nice surrounding terrain just to test out a few different techniques, and then I will fill it up with all of the clone troopers. So I'll get a time lapse started of me working on this. I started by making an outline for where I wanted to put the river in later, and then I filled in the rest of the area with filler bricks and then topped that with some nice green plates. After all of the plates were down, I covered it in a ton of foliage to make it look a bit more interesting and cover the empty space, leaving an empty space for figures later, and then I started to add in a bunch of trans-clear parts to make the river. The first mock is finished. Commander Gree and the rest of his troops have gone out on a bit of a scouting expedition to find a secret droid base hidden deep in the forest. However, he has come across a bit of a river that he cannot cross, so he has to figure out how he is going to cross this river. Now, this is a very simple mock. I wanted to start off pretty simple and just try out a few different things, but I think it turned out pretty good. There's some nice detailing in the rest of the grass pieces. Now, I will say I ordered a ton of these grass pieces for mocks in the future, thinking it was the one that you could just, plop right on down, and I actually can't get that one out. Maybe I'll grab one of these. These kind of get stuck really easily, but needless to say, this is not the one that you can put on studs. This is the one that gets put into a little hole and it cannot be put on studs. A bit of a mishap on my part. This kind of, I didn't buy a ton of them, but I got a few of them without thinking. I just didn't think to double check. So unfortunately, that's what I'm stuck with. So I have to make them work, but I think this mock turned out pretty good. I think it was a good warm up, and we can get on to some better mocks in the next few. Now, unfortunately, I only have the base plates to make one of these little diorama boxes, so I did have to demo the mock, but we are able to move on to our next mock now. And the clone legion that I want to feature is a custom one that I made called Midnight Squadron. Here they are. We have some of them right there. I have more if we need them, but I'm going to try and keep it small on this one. And the plan is to build some sort of landing bay and then a bit of a building and have a bit of a fight going on out there. Not really sure how I want to do it yet, but I'll get you with a time lapse of me working on it. For this mock, I was able to make use of some already built walls and archways to use from a previous mock that I was taking apart. After I put those in, I tiled off quickly on the interior of the mock. I wanted to get a little bit of an inside for this clone base. And then after I scrounged up for all of the tiles that I could find, because I was running low, I was finally able to get them down. And then I got to start adding in some of the details with the figures and other things like that. Sorry about that. I got a phone call, so the time lapse cut short. Unfortunately, I cannot do time lapses on my camera, so I have to use my phone for that, and it does cut out every time that I get a phone call, so it's kind of annoying, but it is all right. But I have finished the mock right here. I think this one turned out okay. I was able to recycle some stuff from a previous mock that I was taking apart, so it made this go kind of easily, but I do think a clone base in the diorama scale doesn't really fit in the way that I did it. There's definitely ways to do it, but with this it kind of looks a little boring. It's just a big gray blob, but nonetheless I think it turned out pretty good, and it does kind of represent what a clone base would be like, because they kind of are just big gray blobs. But enough of that. We have a nice little tiled off area here. I like to use these 1x2 half tile half stud plates because I really like how it looks on the when you line them up. It makes a nice kind of tile, like a real tile, like flooring pattern. And I think that looks really cool, and it like kind of replicates what you would see in a clone base. And I think that that does do this mock pretty well. There's some things that I would have changed. I wish I used all of my pieces, the 1x1 tiles for this, and I was not able to tile off up here, so that I don't really like how that turned out. It looks kind of odd just to see the studs up there, but other than that, I think it turned out pretty good. We have our crates kind of just to make some, you know, differences in here in color, so it's not all light bluish gray. And then we have Midnight Squadron coming out of these gates to take on some droids, and I was able to get a bit of an interior, though not much of one given this space, once again with just that kind of boring gray tiling. And you have the back sides of the wall, and then I just throw in more crates. You have some crates here, crates there, one of the troops going to the crates to grab something, maybe some thermal detonators to help take out these droids, and then just more crates over here. I think this one turned out all right. I would have done it differently if I was to go back, but we don't have time for that, so let's get on to our next mock. Our final mock for today combines two of the Great Legions, being the 501st and the 212th, to build one of the greatest arcs from the Clone Wars, being Umbara. Now, before I build Umbara, I do have to take apart this mock so I can get the base back, so I'll do that. But the plan for Umbara, I did already build Umbara, and I want to do something similar this time around. I just want to do it more detailed in this diorama style. So I'm going to go gather up all of the pieces, take down this mock, and then I will get building. I started off by covering the floor completely in black plates, and then I added in some various detailing like tiles, some different little tubes and little spires to really mimic what Umbara looks like that from what we see in the Clone Wars. Now, I struggled building the spires because I was trying to stack up different tire pieces to make them, and they kept falling over, but I was able to get it after a little bit. Then I added in all of the minifigs. And Umbara is finished. I think this turned out pretty good. Now, Umbara is, I think, one of the most iconic arcs from the Clone Wars. It is definitely one of my personal favorites, and I think it turned out really good. After I placed the figures, I realized I had to put micro binoculars on all of them, so that was kind of a hassle, but I do think that it really added in. I don't remember if Fives and Captain Rex had micro binoculars or not, or if they just had their range finders, and I was too lazy to look it up because I was in a bit of a rush. I think I said this in one of the previous videos, but I'm home for the weekend right now, and I'm trying to make as many videos as I can to post over the next few weeks because I won't really be able to record. But yeah, I'm trying to get through it, and we have here, I guess we'll just go over the figures. It's kind of exactly what you would expect. You have Fives, Captain Rex, just a 501st trooper, and one of the little custom ARF troopers right there, which I think turned out pretty good. I think it does. I would have included more minifigures, but I did not have any more micro binoculars, to be honest. I only had those, and I ripped them all off of the Midnight Squadron, and I don't know if I like them without the micro binoculars compared to with. I don't know. I kind of like to have the helmet holes closed up. That has nothing to do with this mock. I'm getting off topic. But here is the finalized Umbara mock. I do think that it turned out pretty good. I think if I were to pick my favorite of the three, I think this one would probably take the cake. But let me know in the comments which one of the three mocks was your favorites. And if you want me to do another one of these, leave a comment down below of what legions I should do. Preferably ones that actually have real Lego figures with them, so I don't have to use customs, because customs are very expensive. And leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more videos like it, consider subscribing. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe. Drew signing out.